Hello.
Hi.
Wake everybody up? Okay. How many remember when we used to have feast in Omanopa's house? Do you remember what we used to do? The little ones wouldn't remember because we've been having it out here so long. For the class that us gals gave, the children came up close. The under 20s sat in the next rows behind as support to the little ones, and then the adults in the back. You want to do that again?
Yeah.
All right, little ones, 10 and under, up here, on the floor, cross-legged, sitting on the floor. And there's many that are mature enough to come to the front and not be cajoled. Come and sit up front. I depend on you to be mature in Yahweh enough to come up to the front, and we'll, whatever your age. So anyway, just as a support to the younger ones, thank you very, very much. Thank you, gentlemen. These are true gentlemen. Why are you here? What? Don't we say that every time? We're here because it's what? Feast of Tabernacles. I'm so glad that John requested Emmanuel this morning, because do you know what Emmanuel means? Who down here tell me? What does Emmanuel mean? Nobody know? Okay, how about the first row? What does Emmanuel mean? Huh?
Yahweh with us.
Yahweh with us. And so that's what they called Yeshua when he came, didn't they? They called him Emmanuel. Hey, Seth, up here, honey. Up here with us. Okay, if you wish to. Okay, so Emmanuel. And you know when he was born? Who knows when Yeshua was born? What time of the year? Tell me, what time of the year was Yeshua? Not the way that they tell you out in the world that he was born on Christmas Day. It's not right. The shepherds wouldn't have been in the field when there was snow on the ground, would they? And over in Israel, they've been there. It snowed there when it snowed here. They wouldn't have been out there. Okay, when was he born? Anybody up here know? All right.
September 3rd, 2 BC.
Yeah. All right. He was born during feast, or at the first of, probably Feast of Trumpets, possibly. Feast of Tabernacles, because it means tabernacle means that there's something inside. That we're the body, there's something inside. And what's inside? Yeshua. Yeah, the Messiah. Not Yeshua, the stand-up man, but Messiah, his spirit, is in us. So that's why they called it Feast of Tabernacles. Do you think they knew that back in the Old Testament when they used it? They were commemorating when they came out of Egypt and they built their houses in the wilderness. And who'd have thought that Yahweh's plan was that he was going to send his begotten son, Yeshua, right during Tabernacles. So if somebody says to you that Yeshua, or they say Jesus to you was born on Christmas Day, say, well, you might believe that, but I know really when he was born, because he came to be with us. Okay, little ones, I want you to look straight up here, Alessandra. Sweetheart, I want you to look straight up here. And all during this week. Can I get a promise out of you guys? Can I get a promise out of you, Seth? Can I get a promise out of you, Seth? When somebody's speaking up here, you look right up here and you don't talk to somebody else. You know how it is if you're telling mommy something so important, and somebody comes in and says, oh, mommy, and she has to take her attention and give it to the other child. He says, you didn't even listen to me. Well, if you always put somebody up here to tell you more things about Yeshua and Yahweh, don't you think you ought to look right at them and listen and don't be doing something else? Yeah, don't look at somebody else. Look at how Amy's looking right at Nana. And so is Ethan. They're looking so, look, everybody, they're just looking right up because you don't want to miss one thing. As I'll tell you, I'm going to tell you another story about why we are here. I was reading in this book, and you know this book was written almost, whoops, I didn't know I'll need that. Almost 100 years ago, 1926. A lot of you have this book because Harry gave it to you. It's called The Galilean Accent. Do we talk like Yeshua? Do we have his accent? You know what an accent is? If your mama, Alonda, calls me on the phone, I know her voice immediately. And she has a certain accent to her voice. Boys, you're going to have to listen. Zibby, if you answer the phone at your mom's house, I can tell by your voice. So this man wrote this book so that if people talk to us, they would know that we belong to Yeshua. They knew as soon as they heard us talk. Would that keep us from saying something that wasn't true? Or something that was naughty? Would that be what Yeshua would do? No. We want to talk with the same voice that Yeshua talked with. Do we? And they knew he was from Galilee. See, if I talked to somebody the other day that was down in Missouri, and she said, well, Miss, I'll help you just whatever you like for me to tell you to do. I could tell she was from Missouri, or Mississippi, or wherever it was I was talking about. Because she had the accent. So do we have the Galilean accent? What did they call it? What did they call what Yeshua said the Galilean accent? Where was he from? Where was he from? Raquel? Where was he from? Galilee. So it's the Galilean accent. Just like we live in America. So we have, I go up to Canada and they say, oh, I just love your accent. Oh my goodness. We have an American accent. And I say, I just love your accent too. Canadian, eh? Yeah. And they talk a little bit different. Do we talk different because we have Christ inside? We have the Holy Spirit of Messiah inside? Do we talk different? If we don't, there's something wrong. We've got to think about it. Okay. One day, this man, father has a sense of humor. His name is John Gossip. How would you like to have the name of Gossip for your last name? Because Gossip is not a good thing. But somehow, Yahweh gave him that name for his last name, John Gossip. And one day he was saying to himself and to Yahweh, he was saying, look right in my eyes. He was saying, why really am I here on this earth? Why really am I here? And he felt that he heard a voice. Maybe it was in a dream. Maybe it wasn't, that he was awake. And this is what the voice said. It said he could almost hear Yahweh saying, when it was time for him to come, there was others that wanted to take his place. There's probably others that would like to take your place. But he said he just felt like Yahweh took a hand and he said, no, not you. No, not you. No, not you. You! That's That's the one. I want you to go down and pee in that home. And I want you to serve me every day of your life. And so he gave us a special purpose that he didn't give to anybody else, just you. Did you think of that? I hadn't thought about that. That he gave me a purpose that nobody else could fill. I went to my granddaughter yesterday, who is a chiropractic doctor, and I was not well at all broken out, bright pink all over my face. She said to me, Nana, you can't go. You've got to stay in bed. And I said, I have to be there. I have to be at peace. This is what Yahweh would have me to do. So what did he do? He took it away so I could come up and talk to you. So, you know, I read a story about some people who have 19 children. Their name is the Duggars. They live in Missouri. And she teaches them, mothers and daddies, you ought to think about this. She teaches them that she wants instant obedience. Do you know what, Seth, do you know what instant obedience means? It means obey right away. Okay, so she does this. When she gives a command, she goes, instant obedience. Is it because, I guess I don't even need this. It isn't because she wants them just to obey her. She said, when that little, still, small voice that tells you which way to go, and it's from Yahweh, that you go, and you do it. You don't say, I'll do that after a while when I feel like it. No, I'll do it right now. And so I was so impressed with that point, that when we are instantly obedient to our parents, then we will be instantly obedient to God. And instantly means right now. Right now. So when he was praying, and this is what he said, that he heard what it says, knew not who, but when the thought of me rose up before him, he answered and said, you are exactly who I have in mind. And it was me that he chose. And then another man that was a Greek convert of Paul's back in Rome said this. His name is Epictetus. And he said, you came into existence. That means you came here as a little baby. Not when you chose, but when the world had need of you. Oh, I thought I had such a loud voice.
No, just put that.
It's hard. And said, you know, you could help Nana if you would. And he said, I'll do it right now. What about when Zeph was washing dishes this morning, and a little voice said inside, I ought to go help Zeph with the dishes. I'll go do it right now. Right? Instead of saying, I'll do it tomorrow. Zeph's a good worker. He'll do it all by himself. But some listen to that little small voice. You know who you are. And you went in there and said, I appreciated that meal so much. I'm going to help. And I'll do it I'll do it, and I won't even get money. I'll do it because Yahweh. I'll do it because that's why you're here. It's because he has a special plan for you. And this is what Epictetus said. You came into existence not when you chose, but when the world had need of you. Have you thought of that, Brian? I had need. That I came, and you came, and you came, because right when you were born, the world had need of you. And so he says, Yahweh, says this man, with his heart hushed and very still, and his eyes seeing very far away, Yahweh chose you from the very beginning. Alessandra, did you know that? That he chose you from the very, very beginning. I don't know about you, but that, and we have talked about it, sort of, but to just, that he chose his children. He chose each one of us from the very beginning. He knew what the world would need. He knew what your family would need. He knew what you needed. And he chose you. He didn't choose somebody else. He chose you. And that just, another thing that this man said was, an all-wise divine Yahweh governs all things. That doesn't mean just some things, but all things, so that what seems to be calamities. Look at how Abigail falling down that mountain. Now that was a calamity we did not wish on anyone. And she was miraculously saved. I mean, she's a walking miracle. And it says that all calamities are really all part of Yahweh's plan for our life. Little ones, you'll have to listen just long enough for Nana's class, okay? Thank you. And so, it says they're all part of Yahweh's plan, and he orders every single thing for the best. Now, how would it be that Abigail's accident, just for instance, is Abigail here? No. Okay, she had a meeting or something. Okay. How could you feel that a calamity like that was for all things, was all part of his? He orders everything for the best. One thing is, we are going to be thankful. We're thankful that she's alive. We're thankful that the rock hit a place that didn't kill her. You know that if it had come 1 inch over and right here, it probably would have killed her. If it had come 1 inch higher, it would have put her eye out. If it had gone 2 inches over, it would have killed her if you get hit in the head. Do you see how close she was to working out Yahweh's plan? That she was to live and be a testimony, to be a miracle walking. So this is what Epictetus was talking about clear back then. He's not written up in the Bible because he was a Greek, but he was converted under Paul's ministry in Rome, and he just said there is a divine purpose. And John Gossip, I got to tell you a funny story that's on the next page about, well, I'll read it to you because it's too good to quit. When this man, John Gossip, that wrote this book, back in Edinburgh, Scotland, he was getting ready to be a minister of a church. And that's all they knew back then, but he had a wonderful ministry. And so, it's a little bit hard to understand maybe for the little ones, but the others, this is what happened the night he was being ordained and he was starting. It says, long ago, on the night I was inducted to the ministry at Farfair, White of St. George's, which is in Scotland, who was present at the welcoming meeting, gave us a marvelous message that left me, as the pastor, stunned, bewildered, half crushed, and half ready to face anything. He pictured, this is the speaker that's talking about the new minister, and he's talking about you. He's talking about you, and he's talking about me. He said he pictured how from all eternity Yahweh had been thinking of those people that lived in that little town of Forfair. He had been thinking of them. He's been thinking about all the people who live around Duford, Melanda, all the people that you come in contact with around Hood River and farther. all these people, he was thinking of them and foresaw their needs and troubles and temptations, and he thought out with divine skill and care the necessary help and the things that you could do to bring these things into being. And he goes through this long thing, which I won't read it all. Finally, the speaker, sinking his voice, and he himself was greatly moved, and he whispered, and he pointed to John Gossip, and he says, now, he is here, right on time. Is that what you would say about us, children? Whatever you're doing, you're doing it unto Yahweh, because he says, when you run out, you take out the garbage or the compost or something, and you help mommy, and Yahweh saying, there he is, right on time, doing what I put in his heart to do and his mind to do, right on time. And John Gossip stood up and he said, I didn't know what to say. He had just blown me off my feet, because he had said, this town has waited for you, and you have come right on time. Can we say that every day when we get ready to go to bed? Did I do all the things you brought to me, Yahweh? Did I do it right on time as my family needed me? Right on time. It's that day will never come back. We can't make it up tomorrow. We have to do what Yahweh wants us to do right when he asks us. Just like we have to have our parents tell us, and we do it right when they ask us. So I don't know about you, oldsters as well as me. I was blown away. Even though I've known about Yahweh's sovereignty, I've known that all things are of him. And yet, I hadn't thought about that. He put his finger and he says, you are to be born today. You are to come into that family. You are to bless them. You are to bless everybody you come in contact with. This is no small thing. He knew when Daniel Holman was going to come, so that when he was 13, he could get up and do his bar mitzvah. He knew. Daniel knew that too. When he got ready, I'm sure he knew that you were ordained for that day. We're ordained to be here at Feast of Tabernacles. We are ordained to be here. Ordained means, Father said, let them go. Let them go here. And let them learn of me. So anyway, this is the message. The little message that Yahweh put on my heart. So I just, do you have any questions? Did you understand? Did you understand? Isn't it awesome? It's just fun. Doesn't that make your heart just go? Because he chose you. Nobody else. So if you have a really good voice and you're going to sing and you say, oh, I'm too embarrassed, I'm not going to sing. And he gave you that voice? No. For this, I was born. Okay.